You're not looking at. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's time for another wonderful episode of The Bill.
Bert.
Todd.
Cast.
It never goes back to you.
I'm drinking again, Bill. I'm drinking. This is a bad time to meet Dave Portnoy, the man who speaks the most reckless ever that I've ever seen, which I love about you, Dave. But this is, when I drink around guys like you, I get in trouble.
Reckless.
That's one thing I got to say, just starting off, it is refreshing to see a company that when all of these people that are just, I don't know, whatever the hell they're doing, they just see people having a good time, I guess, and then they come in and they, with all of their own agenda, and if you don't drop to your knee, like I just see everybody just caves and apologizes, we're going to try to do better, and you guys always just like, no, this is what we're doing, we're not doing anything wrong, and it just goes away. My favorite one, Bert, I don't know if you know this one, this kid was just trying to like somehow have Dave removed, which I don't know why.
That happens a lot.
So they wanted him removed, and one of their CEOs or something is a woman, and he was saying, oh, she's only there in name only. And she went back, I'm only here in name only. This company's grown by 200% since I've been there. And it actually exposed the other guy for actually his own sexist views. And then he totally went Claude Lemieux. He just turtled up, disappeared, fucking disappeared, because that's what I was waiting for. I was sitting there going, all right, how's this kid going to talk his way out of that? He just folded up his tent and left. And then what killed me was all those woke signalers didn't go after him for looking at a woman in that power position and and making the assumption that she was only there in name only. Oh, did I enjoy that?
My favorite Erica Nardini story. And I mean, obviously, I've been doing Barstool 15 years, 17 years. Times are as crazy as they've ever been right now with what we're doing. But it's Erica wore a feminist sweatshirt. It just said feminist on it. And somebody who hated us and hated her tweeted about it. And they're like, look at this fake feminist wearing a feminist sweatshirt. She just tweeted back at the girl, it's cashmere, bitch. That's my favorite thing she's ever done.
I got to be honest with you. Like, I feel that so much more the majority is cool with other people doing their thing. And there just seems to be like this lunatic sort of fringe on both sides. Like I was joking with a buddy of mine saying both political parties needed to drop 30 pounds of crazy.
Yep.
And then go into November. And it's, I don't know. I just wish more corporations would look at like your business model when there's just this lunacy coming out and just be like, no, that's ridiculous. And just realize that there's no bite coming back after that. And if you support the artist, the creative person, or the person that they're coming after, that it just kind of all goes away. And just watching people, I don't know, the amount of people I've seen apologize who've done nothing.
Yeah, and I mean, you're obviously, both of you guys, is like, we fashion ourselves as comedians. So, we got in hot water. I got in hot water. I'm always getting in hot water. But more recently, I don't know what the shit all over my hand is.
More recently, you guys create hot water. That fucking Jeremy Rennick thing. You guys, like, just you guys being around, like I said, man, people show up to your compound and get reckless. It's part of your fucking brand. I do it, and that fucking Jeremy dude definitely does it.
Yeah, well, I always look at it in a weird way. I've heard people compare it to like old Stern, because when you're sitting down with them that they're pretty, they're on the edge, and you want to fit in and you want to be funny. And when you do that in that environment, you can say things you wouldn't ordinarily say. Where I always say we kind of get in trouble or treated, what I would say, I don't know, unfairly is the word. Like if Bill or you go do a comedy show, you're in a comedy club. People bought the tickets. A lot of times the things we say, I feel like they're things people aren't giving the background, that we're trying to entertain and be funny, and we're making fun of everybody. It's like somebody who goes into, a comedy club who didn't buy a ticket, walks out, and he'll be like, you never believe what this guy said, but you don't give the background that it was in a comedy club and you didn't buy tickets. So, and it's interesting times now. And like to what Bill was saying, social media just makes it the fucking worst. because, a few people or a big group that you can amplify your voice, directly at companies. And it's a shit show out there. It's a shit show. And it's every day somebody else is getting canceled or trying to be canceled.
Do you find yourself, Dave, I know this is going to sound like a weird question, but do you find yourself getting behind anyone who's about to get canceled, be it Deshaun Jackson or Nick Cannon? Like when you watch them bend at the knee, you're like, God damn it, man. I thought Nick was going to pull this one off. I literally thought.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Jewish, so I didn't read too much into, like, Deshaun Watson. I'm Deshaun Jackson. I didn't love him quoting Hitler. Like, I'm not a big Hitler guy, so it's like, I'm not going to be, like, having his back. The H-man's pretty tough. But, listen, we've been doing it for 20 years, and kind of where I got in hot water, I'm so used to people coming after me that when you dig through what I've been saying for fucking 20 years, and I got in a huge amount of trouble recently for a couple things, as someone I know who fucking hates me. I don't know who it is, but they've been trying to cancel me forever. They went back, they dug through everything we said, and like 5 years ago, we had a Super Bowl party, and we had Ja Rule and Ashanti. Like, that's who we booked as the talent. Because we couldn't do like Bieber or Taylor Swift. We had to do something a little different. So we went old school. And to announce it, I did a big emergency press conference and all this shit, and I sang Ja Rule's top 5 songs, like 30 seconds of each. One of them has the N-word in it, and I sang it. Not many people said anything back in the day. This became a huge fucking issue for me now. And they're like, apologize. And whether it's the way I said it, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to apologize for it because you're going to go back and try to find everything that I'm trying to say. Like, I didn't mean it to be offensive. I'll only apologize for things that I mean with hate. I'm singing a lyric. I didn't realize it. Some of my old employees got very upset. African Americans are like, well, you put us out on an island. And I did apologize for that. I'm like, I never mean to do that. I never want them to feel like, I don't have their back. And I never mean to truly offend enough people.
But you can't sing along to a song at this point.
Yeah.
Actually, you can. Hold on. I did an interview with Trinidad James, who's one of his most favorite songs is All Gold Everything, and the N-words sang maybe 70 times in it. Like, not even joking, it's part of the chorus. It's just that word repeated over and over again, like someone's got a stutter. And I said to him, I said, how do you feel? Because my daughters have a problem when I'm in that car listening to that song and singing along. And he goes, hey, man, I'm paraphrasing. He's allowed to take back whatever he said to me. But he said, hey, man, I put that that art out, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy it responsibly and you're not, like, obviously being reckless with it and being an asshole, but he goes, then enjoy it. That's my art. And you, bro, cancel culture is going way too far when white guys can't listen to hip hop.
You just lost all the cancel guys when you said bro. The second, because then that's gonna be, look at these 3 bros talking about blah, blah,
that's
blah.
what I thought. That's what I thought originally, but I'll never do it again. There was enough outrage. There's enough people. I'll never fucking do it. And the only take I take on, listen, I'm not a black guy, so I'm not going to tell them how they should feel. But my impression, if you ask 10 black people, 5 will say, can't sing it, can't do it. 5 will say they could. And I'm like, listen, I don't want, that's like I always look at it as it's intent. Are you trying to make people feel better?
Exactly. That's what I can't stand is when you tell them what your intent is. Now, obviously you could lie, but like when you're like, no, that's not how I meant the joke. That's how you took it. I have to apologize for how you took it, or they want you to. I also love too, like it's like that happened 5 years ago. The people bitching, I want to be like, how old were you?
Right.
You were like 25 when I did this. It took you till you were 30 to figure out that this bothered you.
I hear you. I'm on the same page, but then I'm
all right. I don't want to start it. I don't want to start it all back up again. So, whatever. I'm just saying it's nice to see somebody, a company, not like just like it's how we end up going too far to the left or too far to the right.
They both suck.
You just keep backing up. It just becomes like this crazy thing. So, I mean, I don't know. I think at this point, when you can politicize a virus, I think
seriously,
we're in trouble right now. This is not a good look for the world. We're showing that we're divided and we're weak. So
I've always said that we should be in unison that we fucking don't like Corona. Like that should be something we can all agree on.
Hey, I have a question. You guys met through a video Bill shot 10 years ago. Is that how you guys like kind of hooked up for the first time?
it was. Andrew was saying, you got to read these guys, Barstool Sports. They're hilarious. And he started sending me their articles. And I think, I don't know if you were just in Boston at the time or whatever. It was a long time ago. And like I had just started out on my podcast. So he's like, he goes, and Andrew called. He goes, I'm telling you, these guys are going to fucking blow up. There's an overlap in fan base, blah, blah, blah. So I was in Boston at the time, and I had my little handheld shit. I still have that stuff, to be honest with you. And I think you were moving or something.
Yeah, it was like a weird fucking episode, like Bill Burr in my kitchen. Like we just sat in my fucking kitchen for like 2 hours. No one's ever done that.
And he said the reason why I liked him was because when he was going to do an interview and he knew the people were just going to try to take him down, he would wear a disrespectful shirt. He wouldn't, if he dressed up, it meant I respect you as a reporter, and he would try to look sharp. But if he didn't, he'd wear some ridiculous Hawaiian shirt or whatever. And he tells me that. And while I'm interviewing him, he kind of had a ridiculous shirt on. So I'm thinking, like, is he wearing this shirt because he's moving? Because I got in the middle of a move? Or does he think that I'm going to fuck with him? So I was a little uncomfortable in the beginning. And then we just sort of smoothed it out. I'm like, all right, this guy's just he's a Boston guy, fan of the team. So believe it or not, that was like 10 years ago. I didn't go back and look at the video because of what you said at the beginning of this. Bert was saying, like, Jesus Christ, Bill, you look like a little boy, which is funny because I was 42. I'm now 52. And it's just like, I don't need to know that I make a 42-year-old look old at this point.
I feel like that's really, and I was kind of new to what you were doing. I mean, I knew you were, but obviously I know you a lot better. I don't know. I feel like that's when you started exploding. Like we were talking before the show, I was watching the King of Staten Island, your main character. I mean, you're everywhere. Like I turn on the little guy, Baby Yoda, you're in that. I mean, you're fucking everywhere.
Well, it's a balance. You got to be out there, but if you're everywhere, then all of a sudden, like I'm a big Ben Affleck fan, and the tipping point when he was dating J-Lo and they were going to Red Sox games, and all of a sudden you start to like not being able to get away from somebody. I kind of learned watching that because I saw it like sort of public perception turn on that guy. I'm like, wait, this guy makes fucking great movies. He's an even better director. What is the problem? And I kind of learned through that. And then I watched like guys like Chris Rock and Beastie Boys were really good at like when they had something to promote, they were out there. And then when it was over, they just pulled back. So, I mean, it's kind of hard to do when I do a video podcast every week, but.
Yeah, no, you're out there.
Three of them.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Dave, here's the question I want to ask both you guys. That video is about LeBron's decision. And one of the most fascinating things that I feel like I pulled away, and I watched that documentary on the decision. I don't know if you saw it, but it's athletes creating their own narrative, like being the dictator of their own narrative. And after watching The Last Dance, you go, oh, that's our future. There possibly could be no other narrative other than the ones the athletes allow. And what's crazy is without even I watched a video you had about your high school baseball career and your dad. And I was like, I came away and I was like, Dave Portnoy is a fucking legend, bro. He's one of the best baseball players no one ever. Right. And then I realized, oh, Dave fucking Portnoy directed that. Of course he's a fucking legend.
Right.
So what do you guys think about?
My dad thought it was Walter Payton.
Your dad goes, I walked away from that field and they said that's the best athlete I've ever seen play the ball.
Yeah.
But what do you think about athletes in the future after The Last Dance? Just their narrative is the one you're going to hear.
Yeah, and I think it's even before that, to be honest. Again, it's social media. Like once the athletes are able to kind of cut out, you have guys doing, their own press releases, their own announcements, whether it be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but you can cut through, you can speak directly. So that's been a change that's been happening. I mean, obviously LeBron with ESPN and all that takes it to like the next level. But if you want to speak directly to, the consumer, you can do it. And it's all social media.
Yeah, we've been doing it with podcasting. When you talk, Bill, about not overexposing yourself, it's like you only show the parts of yourself that we decide to show on this show. It's such a weird Wait, do you think that's
it is a good? It's been overall. I think it's been a good thing for athletes too, because with that Jordan documentary where they were sitting like, there was like some people in the press that got a little pissy about it, that it was like he had final cut and all that, and I was like, great, because you guys have been telling his story for almost 40 years. I want to hear what is his version,
Right?
Like what does he think that he is? And I don't know. There was a lot of stuff about Jordan. I never understood why people had a problem with the Hall of Fame speech. It's just like, well, you're upset that was the mentality he had to have, so you could watch the greatest basketball player that ever. I never understood why. I don't know, the press and people just get like so pissy about that. It's just like, let the guy, if that's how he is, that's how he is. He's not hurting anybody. He's fucking playing a game.
I love how he greenlit that documentary like the day that LeBron won the championship with the Cavs. That's like my favorite part of that.
Yeah.
Like
I have to be honest. Like, how the NBA, I feel like they've kind of sold their soul to the super team, where they it's like every year there seems to be an all-star team, either both in the West or one in the East, one in the West, ideally, and then in the final. So then it's sort of a foregone conclusion that these two teams are going to make it to the finals. And I just liked how, if they did it the same way they do it now, back then, that all that shit with Jordan lifting the weights, trying to get past the Pistons, and now those great battles that those two incredible teams had, he would have just jumped on the Pistons after maybe the second year. He just would have jumped on them, and then then the Pistons win like 5 in a row or something. And I'm not a fan. I always equate it to like when you were a little kid and you chose up teams outside at recess. Even in the third grade, if it got too lopsided, even in third grade, you were like, wait a minute. You sort of like, where would the satisfaction be if all the athletes beat up the mathletes?
Yeah.
And I just feel like that's going on in the NBA right now.
True hatred. Like because everyone's like friends and all the other, I feel like there's not the true hatred. Like you watch the Jordan, like I laughed every time Jordan during that. I fucking hate Isaiah. Like no matter you gave him an inch, he's like, I fucking hate Isaiah Thomas. I still fucking hate him.
No one can convince me that guy's not an asshole. Was my favorite quote.
Yeah,
what about Bill Laimbeer? Bill Laimbeer had the greatest quote ever. Because what's his face? Isaiah was sort of trying to dance his way out of that walking off the court. And they said to Bill Laimbeer, they go, do you regret doing that? He goes, no, fuck those guys. He goes, when we won it, they said we're not real champions. And right. I'm like, they still hate each other. I love that.
I love it. And that's gone now in the NBA. And it was the Celtics hating the Pistons. My favorite rant. I love like the Johnny Most when he's grabbing the little microphone, be like, the dirty way they do things here. So
yeah, Jake O'Donnell. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what's funny? Out here in L.A., well, my favorite sportscaster to watch is the one that has Michael Cooper on it. And whenever they show a Celtic highlight or the Lakers play the Celtics, the level of hatred that man still has for the Celtics, it's weird. As a sports fan, it warms my heart. I'm like, this guy, he beat, the 80s, they got the best of us, and he's still, you would think that we won 5 and they won 3 in the 80s. The way he's like, yeah. I think he's mad that they lost it still in 84.
All of that. It's not just that. Like I loved watching one of my favorite documentaries, the 30 for 30s of the old Miami Hurricanes, where they just used to like dance and like I don't like sport. I don't think I'm very anti-sportsmanship in sports. Like I like hatred, I like celebrating, I like running it in. It's entertainment. That's what I like. Everyone now shake hands, kissy, can't celebrate, can't do this. I hate that. I hate it.
I like it to a point. I don't like the sportsmanship where if you make a good play, I got to watch you do a 20-minute dance. But then if you fuck up and get burned, you get to pretend grab your hamstring and run to the fucking locker room. I mean.
You're talking about our guy, though, now, Bill, because that's Cam Newton 101.
Let's just listen to the deal. I don't know anything about this guy, but, like, quoting all those animals and all of that shit, I mean, this guy's definitely out there. And I feel like, with a guy like that, when you leave – a big red flag to me is who needs fucking Cam Newton more than the Carolina Panthers? And they let the guy go for nothing. It's like, what the fuck is with that? How did it go that sour? Now, it could have been the ownership, so I don't know. Yeah. But I know when a guy like that comes into a place that's used to winning, they sort of have to be on good behavior. And it takes about a season and a half before you figure out if the person bought in or they're actually a good dude and the ownership sucked, which is what I'm hoping is going to happen. So I think we're going to have a good season with the guy, but I think we find out who was right. Carolina ownership.
The Patriots have a long history. I mean, Randy Moss, Corey Dillon, they've taken guys who have been, superstars, outcasts. I'm excited. We'll see. But he does this thing. He does the Superman. I mean, they could be down 40 and he gets a first down and he's pointing, he's celebrating, he's getting football.
That's what I love, because he tweeted, he goes, I'm sick of being humble. It's like every time you score, you rip open your shirt like you're Superman. But I'm thinking maybe I'm just being an old man. Maybe compared to what other guys are doing, that's humble for his
generation. He's not, but I'm all in on it now. He's our guy, so I'll write a blog and fucking rip my shirt open. I'm all in on it now. He's our guy. You got to embrace it.
Good competitiveness is appreciated on both sides. When I went to Florida State and we played Miami, and I remember Warren Sapp led a fucking group of just fucking massive dudes out to the center where they had the Indians head right at the Seminole, and they grabbed patches of dirt and walked away. And that's before the fucking game. And me and my boys are hitting each other going, "This is gonna be a good fucking game."
Yeah, that's what I love. I love the route. I remember I'm a Michigan guy. A couple of years ago, Devin Bush, before the game, went into the end zone where the Spartan was and tried to remove it with his cleat. Like that's the shit that I fucking love.
You know, one of my favorite ones
when we put his married men, they fucking piss and moan. What the fuck? Yeah.
One of my favorite ones was when Jim Harbaugh was coaching at Stanford, and Pete Carroll was still with USC, and they were beating the shit out of him. They scored another touchdown. Stanford did at the end of the game. He went for 2 points, like fucking Woody Hayes, right? And in the end, Pete Carroll was just like, he's like, "Hey, bro, what's your problem?" Whatever. And he was basically, I forget if he said it right then or if he said it at the end of the game. He's like, "What are you talking? You've been doing that forever in this division." When he had all of those guys, he was running up the score, trying to get up the rankings.
Yeah.
And he did it to Stanford. And I love that Jim Harbaugh took that personally. Some shit happened.
Harbaugh is
Stanford did,
Stanford did to USC. Was Woody Hayes is the guy, I think it was Michigan. I think that's right. He went for 2 in a blowout. They're like, "Why'd you go for 2?" He's like, "Because you can't go for 3.
Yeah.
the exact mentality.
Woody Hayes was, there's never going to be another. Did you ever see that, Bert, when towards the end of his career, I think they were playing Clemson. Some team had orange in their uniform, and the kid on the other team intercepted the ball and got pushed out of bounds near him, and he was so mad he grabbed him / sort of punched him in the face, and he was like almost 70.
Yeah.
It's just, they don't make them like that anymore.
Well, you're not allowed to. You'd be like thrown in prison.
Yeah.
I know. Well, let me then here's a question I have, because I'm reading this, been sort of slowly getting through this book called The Code in Hockey.
I thought you were going to say, I'm reading this Ben Roethlisberger autobiography.
No. Haven't got to that summertime read yet. I never questioned fighting in hockey. I just thought it was cool as shit, and I loved it. But I could never quite explain it. I always knew the players were talking about, well, if it doesn't happen, the game's going to get out of control. And I now sort of understand it reading the book, like that these guys come out on the ice, and sometimes an enforcer doesn't even need to fight. This is like the manliest shit ever. Sometimes the big guy gets out there, and right before a face-off, he just goes, "Hey, guys, we need to settle this down. Somebody might get hurt." And everybody's just like, "Oh, shit," he's getting mad, and it brings it back down again. And they're saying if they don't have those guys out there, which I think the Bruins saw last year in the finals when we didn't have anybody to make people accountable for their actions, that it is going to get out of control. I just wonder why the league can't somehow, just through fines and throwing people out of the league, they just can't get it out of the game if they actually wanted to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's probably one of those fine lines. It's, again, it's not to sound like soft, but people talk about concussions and all that. But I think it's a push-pull. They probably don't want it totally out of the game. It is part of the game, but you're trying to market stuff, and everything pisses everybody off. So I think it's a big thing. The concussion thing is why, to me, that they want to get rid of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then also I think they've always been envious of the other 3 sports where, they're all the way back where baseball was America's pastime. And in their lifetime of being a sports league, they saw the NFL run down the MLB. They saw the NBA become number one. They saw everybody's sort of been number one and held the belt, and they never have. And then to see the UFC come out of nowhere and pass all of them and go global and get to a level where they're almost fucking with international soccer. I just think that they try to make they've never sort of been comfortable with being the rogue. Like you're that rogue sport where you just have this hardcore following. So they're always constantly changing the game to sort of try to appease non-hockey fans.
Yeah.
Like, those assholes every 4 years who watch like Olympic hockey. And they're like, if this is how the NHL was, I would watch. Right. No, you're still going to watch NBA. You're too invested in it. You've been watching it for like 25 years. So I don't know. Have you been checking out any of the that NHL? I think it just started back up again. Were they going to do like a round robin or something like that?
No, I mean, I'll watch that, but that's more like whoever wins that, are you going to be like their Stanley Cup champs? I mean, not really, right?
No.
Right. So it's kind of, I'll watch it because I'm desperate for sports. I'm desperate for things to watch, but I won't put any credence. I mean, I don't know, all of it, the bubble, nothing's real. I will say, I think it's funny, right? Not funny, but all the NFL players are complaining right now, like there's no COVID safety. Like Roger Goodell gives a fuck about their safety. No shit, he doesn't care. Like he's like, he doesn't care about nothing, but they'll be on the field. One way or the other, the NFL's happening. That's a guarantee.
Guaranteed.
What about like, because I know you're a betting guy, and like, yeah. And Bill and I have a bet that
he actually wins though. Although those guys,
that ain't true.
No,
no.
You do better than most though. Every time I turn you on, you're killing it.
Wait,
yeah, maybe, but then I probably bet more. Like I have horses going right now. I don't even probably getting my ass whipped right now.
Do you bet on yourself, on your skills?
What skills do I have? Skills would be the company. I bet on my company. I made a lot of money on myself with Barstool, but like I don't have any. I can't be like, hey, I'm gonna go beat Carl Lewis in a race.
No, Bill and I have a bet. Bill and I have a bet that I can't hit. What is it? A 35-yard field goal?
How many kicks do you get?
One kick. One kick.
No chance.
That's 40. 35.
Hold on. Stop. You're writing that off way too quick as a betting man.
You have one kick?
One kick.
No chance.
Come on.
Can I get action on this? No chance.
Let's get action on it. We're going to bankroll it, dude. We're going to get you some tight football pants. And what are the odds here?
Pat McAfee watched me kick and says, I think you got a shot.
No, I mean, Pat McAfee is one of the worst gamblers I've ever met. He had it. Pat McAfee hadn't placed a bet till 2 years ago in his life. I had to teach him what a fucking spread is. So I'm not betting the house on Pat McAfee. Acknowledging he's also like one of the nicer humans there is. So I don't see Pat McAfee, even he's like, this guy's no chance to be like, no. So I'm not.
He thought it was a Make-A-Wish segment.
Yeah. That wasn't the way to get me like, oh, well, Pat McAfee said he could do it.
Bro. Dude, Dave, you have no idea the amount of bets. Because this is the way my brain works. I only bet on myself. I always bet on myself. I was like, all right, what can I challenge Dave to? Like, you got a beautiful swing.
He's like a white Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. You got a beautiful left-handed swing. I'm not challenging you to a home run derby. I think you might got me on that. I definitely can beat you pitching. I'm going through all the list of things, and then I just go back and I go, fucking field goal. Next rough and rowdy. In the middle of it, you throw up a fucking goalpost. I come out. Everyone puts their money in right then.
I've never tried to kick. I have no idea how it'd be. I wouldn't think I'd be a great kicker. I'm just thinking somebody's not a kicker. One kick, 35 yards, no chance.
Very easy.
Well, it's definitely not very easy. Like NFL guys miss 35-yard field goals.
Trying to sucker us in is what's happening here. He's talking a little bit of shit here. I get it. You're selling the fight, Bert.
No. Hey, you've had a lot of really great ideas. Like Saturdays are for the boys, one of my favorite things ever. My daughters have those shirts. Have those shirts. Fucking rough and rowdy. You have so many brilliant ideas. I want to know the ones that didn't pan out that you were like, hold on, guys. Fucking.
So we did a concert tour. The closest we've ever been to being out of business. So back in like 2009 or 10, we hired a local musician. His name was Sam Adams, and we went to like 6 different schools in New England. And it went really well. Like, we were supposed to do frat basements. We ended up doing like the Mullen Center at UMass and URI. And I thought to myself, we paid $20,000 for 6 shows. And it's like, if we're selling 3,000 tickets for these, and I go hire some real talent or bigger name talent at the time for all these venues, we can make a fucking ton of money. So I had this guy, Mike Posner. The song was like Cooler Than Me at the time.
I know.
I had Mac Miller. I paid $500 for Mac Miller. That's how early he was. Like, that's how much his cost was. Wale and a bunch of, and then I bought the venue. So I was spending close to $300,000 a show when it was all done. And we didn't sell any fucking tickets. I mean, I thought we were going out of business. If I couldn't get out of the venues, like we were 4-wall in the venues, renting them, if I couldn't get out with a cancellation fee, that would have been the end of Barstool. That was a total disaster.
You know what? A promoter in Boston told me that's how the Sullivan family lost the Patriots. It's because they didn't realize how big Michael Jackson's stage was going to be, because he was competing with Prince. And they thought he was going to have like the standard size, like the Rolling Stones or somebody used. And he came out with this giant thing, ate up all of these seats, specifically down low too. And then the Foxborough one got canceled. And that was like 83 or something. It took until about 1990 where they just finally lost the team. Yeah,
I've heard similar like versions of that.
Yeah, that's a tough business. What the hell was I just going to ask you in the middle?
Super tough business, because it's like you're getting talent, the promoter angle, which is what we were, especially Live Nation drives up the prices, but it's like the promoter takes all the risk and you're capped at how much you can make. So it's a brutal business. We don't do that anymore.
You don't have to tell this to the guy starting a drive-in movie theater tour. It's a fucking it's an upside down business where you got to sell out everything. This podcast is brought to you by Policy Genius. Shopping for life insurance can raise a lot of questions. How much coverage you need, which insurance company is best for you, how much should it even cost, and at a time when it's more important than ever to save money or have life insurance, the pandemic is making it a little more complicated to shop for it. That's where Policy Genius can help. As a life insurance marketplace backed by a team of experts, Policy Genius is keeping track of all the changes in the marketplace, so you don't have to. They will find you the right amount of coverage for the best possible price without the headache. Policy Genius compares the quotes from the top life insurance companies in one place. It takes just a few minutes to compare quotes from the top insurers to find you your best price. This doesn't just save a lot of legwork, it also saves money. It can save you up to $1,500 or more a year by using Policy Genius to compare life insurance policies. Once you apply, Policy Genius team will handle all the paperwork and red tape for free. So if you hit any speed bumps during the application process, they'll be unraveling. You can tell that I'm drunk, right? They'll be there to take care of everything. So if you need life insurance, but if you're unsure where to start, head to PolicyGenius.com. Policy Genius will find you the best rate and handle the process completely. They'll get you and your family protected and hopefully give you one less thing to worry about. Try it today at PolicyGenius.com.
All right, it's Helix, everybody. Helix, are you not able to sleep? Are you not able to sleep today because of today's politics? Your love life? Any other drama you talk about? Helix Sleep makes personalized mattresses made right here in America and shipped straight to your door with free, no-contact delivery, free returns, and a 100-night sleep trial. To choose a mattress, Helix made a quiz that just takes 2 minutes to complete, matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. If you like the mattress, if you like a mattress that's really soft or firm, if you sleep on your side or your back or your stomach, if you sleep really hot, with Helix, there's a specific mattress for each and everybody's unique taste. I love Helix, evidently, but you don't need to take my word for it. Helix was awarded, you know what it is? I haven't bought a new mattress in a while, so I got to use these guys. Helix was awarded the #1 best overall mattress picks. Let me do that again. I don't want to fuck with these guys. I love Helix. Or Helix. I love Helix. Let me do this again. I love Helix, but you don't need to take my word for it. Helix was awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020 by GQ, Wired Magazine, and Apartment Therapy. Just go to helixsleep.com/Bill Bert, take their 2-minute quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. They have a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They'll even pick it up and give you a full refund if you don't love it. Gross, but you will. Right now, Helix is offering up to $200 off a mattress for our listeners. Get up to $200 off at helixsleep.com/Bill Bert.
This podcast is brought to you by Simply Safe. Here's the thing about home security companies. Most trap you with high prices, tricky contracts, and lousy customer service support. So while there are a lot of options out there, there's only one no-brainer. Simply Safe has everything you need to protect your home with none of the drawbacks of traditional home security. It's got an arsenal of sensors and cameras to blanket every room, window, and door tailored specifically for your home. Professional monitors keep watch day and night, ready to send to police, fire, or medical professionals if there's an emergency. You can set it up yourself in just under an hour. Just peel and stick the sensors exactly where you need them. No technicians required. And there's no contract, no pushy sales guy, no hidden fees, no
and you
fine
catch your
print.
kids sneaking out the window to take out the family car.
And I got 2 teenagers. This is what I love. And what I love more than anything, this all starts at just $15 a month. I'm not the only one who thinks Simply Safe is great. U.S. News and World Report named it the best overall home security in 2020. Try Simply Safe today at simplysafe.com/Bill Bert. You get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. There is nothing to lose. That is simplysafe.com/Bill Bert. Bill, what were you going to ask him? So I have a million questions for Dave.
I want to talk Rough and Rowdy because I got to hang on a couple of those. Nice
Rough and Rowdy fucking rocks. Rough and Rowdy, Bill. I noticed
the Milkman was my
Bill
favorite.
Introduced me to it, and it's really when I started discovering you guys and going like, fuck, Saturdays are for the boys. I've been saying that. Dudes have been coming up to me at shows with cameras. Bert, what are Saturdays? Saturdays are for the boys. I always say it. I didn't even know what the fuck it was. But Bill did Rough and Rowdy, and I am fucking addicted.
No, and that first venue that we did, was that in Charlotte? The house
Was
that
that
Rick
Youngstown?
No, I did one in Ohio. I only did 2. I did one in Ohio, then we did one down in Charlotte. It was an old wrestling arena, and I've been dying to go back there to do a show. Because it was like just the way they packed them in. It was like an old school venue, so there wasn't any luxury boxes or nothing. It's one of my favorite venues I've ever been in. You could feel the history. Just as a comedian, Ric Flair is one of the funniest people that's ever existed. Yeah. And his monologues, whatever you call it, like him doing the promos, is better than most of the shit I've ever written total in my whole career. I'd be like doing like a venue like Carlin or Pryor did. So I've been wanting to go back there. And is there, as far as like that event, is there a way, because the crowd is just so much part of that event, is there a way during this fucking COVID shit where we keep going back and forth about slowing it down and it comes back, is there a way that you guys are thinking of trying to do one of those?
We stopped. I mean, we're bad at shit like that. The amount of like work and effort that probably has to go into getting it approved. Like even Dana White, I mean, he had the thing set up. It got shut down like 2 or 3 times before he was able to do it. I guess it's state to state. We're also, a part of us was like, the way people come at us, we'll do it, and then people blame COVID on us. They'll be like,
oh, Dana White shut it down?
No, I'm saying Dana, but he did Fight Island, and he had a couple events that were shut down before he was able to get it off. So it's just seems like too much of a fucking headache right now with everything going on with COVID.
Well, I have a good theme if you want the next one, because you always have like the towns versus the towns.
Yeah.
Well, considering everything's been politicized, why don't you politicize Rough and Rowdy, and you have like the snowflakes versus the Trumpsters, or something like mask wearers versus non-mask wearers?
Yeah,
just something about those.
That'd be a good thing.
Like COVID or some shit. I don't know.
Do it like right before the election.
I know.
Antifa versus Proud Boy would be a big fucking get on YouTube views.
Ooh.
Antifa versus Proud Boy.
Oh yeah, big time, big time.
Dave, I'm going to ask you a question I'm sure you had to answer a million times, but I'm dying to know, and I've watched a lot of content on you. If you can give me almost like a hop skip year by year of the progression of how you started your business, I'd be fascinated because I know it started off as a legit magazine or like a legit newspaper.
Yeah, right.
And it was all about getting money from gambling sites to pay for the newspaper. But now I've been to your offices. I've literally pilfered your merch store for my daughters.
Yeah.
They're obsessed. Dude, I wore a zillion beers today grilling. And so I want to know, like, this is maybe too much for this podcast, but like how you started your business and how you look at your business on making money, because so many dudes want to be you.
Right. Well, that's a big say.
Bill and I would love to have a Barstool Sports. What you do is fucking impressive, brother.
Yeah, a lot of it is I don't have like a business degree, and it's all been wildly organic. There is no. In fact, a lot of people ask me, like, what do you think, whenever anybody asks me, like, from a business perspective or whatever, like, what do you think's going to happen in, like, 2 years? It's like, the way the world moves, the way, there's movements, the way technology moves, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen in the next month. Like, I didn't know TikTok was going to be around in fucking 2 months ago. So anybody who's like, I know what the future's going to bring is lying. We just react really quickly, and we pivot to what we think people want. We're not stuck to anything. If it sucks, move away. If it's good, move towards it. I mean, Saturday for the Boys, that wasn't planned out. That was super organic. It just caught fire, and then we put the weight behind it. Rough and Rowdy was organic. Like, I never thought we'd own it or buy it. I saw it 10 years ago. I'm like, this is fucking amazing. So it's like just, I guess, trusting our gut and moving along with it. Like, as crazy as it sounds, so we started a newspaper. And the only reason we went online or got a website is a guy. So I used to wake up and hand the newspaper out outside subway stations in Boston. A guy who I had been giving it to moved to New York. He's like, hey, I love reading this. I'm moving to New York. If I build you a website, will you put the newspaper on the website? So I'm like, yeah, fucking knock yourself out, dude. But it's just been, always authentic, always trying to stay real to like what we're doing was just make people laugh. And moving quickly. And who knows? Everything moves so fucking quick. Sports gambling being legalized, that was huge for us. Like, we sold the company for fucking $450 million. Did I think that was going to happen? If they didn't legalize sports gambling, no chance. So it's just my dad used to say, like, oars in the water. Just make sure you're fucking swimming and you're there. And when something's ready to hit, take advantage of it.
All right, Bill. His dad said oars in the water. My dad said eat shit, cash checks. What did your dad say?
What did my dad say? I don't want to hear it. Shut the fuck up. Christ, I'm tired. Get these goddamn kids away from me. No, my dad was just, Christ, you get yourself a cheeseburger, you're going to be fine. My dad's a major cheerleader. Christ, Bill, you're out there, you're telling jokes, you're making people laugh. There's really it's just, my dad was either super angry or super positive. But after a while, I just was like, this is just how he blows off steam. I fucking love my dad. My dad is the best. But, when he was younger, it was just like, and I didn't understand people. I didn't understand the frustrations of a man with, all those kids. Hey, I want to ask you this because I probably don't want to know the answer, but how do you go about handicap? How do you go about handicapping a horse? And not be just.
I suck at it. I love horse racing. Like, I've been a horse racing guy my whole life. My dad used to bring me when I was a kid. As Barstool's done better, I own some horses now. I love it. They have the daily racing form. If you don't know what it is, like how fast it's basically, if you're looking at an athlete, you just look at their past history, and it's like, all right, it's good, it's bad. But it's great. I mean, it's an interesting industry. There's nothing, you want to do a comedy show, just set up a microphone and go to like Suffolk Downs and just watch the fucking people there. It's a different world of people, and I love it. I've grown up on it. I mean, I usually spend August in Saratoga up in New York. You can't have fans this year, so that sucks. But yeah, I fucking love it.
Yeah, I went to the Kentucky Derby one time, and I was supposed to go again this year, but that got blown out of the water. But I think you guys retweeted a video. Bert, you got to see this thing where it was like You know, people like, you're watching a baseball, you're watching a fight and you're acting out fighting. This guy was betting on a horse. He was acting out the guy riding the horse.
Yeah, he was whipping himself.
He was literally, he was going like this. He was whacking his own ass with the fucking, what do you call it? The program.
The program. He had the program. Yeah,
dude, and he was in rhythm with it, and he was whacking it every other one. And then when he came down the stretch, he was hitting his ass on every one of them. Fucking hilarious. It's like, I got to admit, though, if that was ever one of my kids and somebody sent me that video, like that's what I created, I would definitely die a little inside. It was one of the
there's nothing like degenerates. Nothing like a degenerate.
I miss that they lost out on the fringe gambling. Like when growing up in Florida, our two things were greyhounds and high life. And like,
listen, you want to talk about ideas I have? They're bringing back fucking highlight. I want to buy a highlight league. I think we could make highlight. There's nothing like highlight.
Dave, I'm in on this 100%. By the way, I have an amazing highlight throw from baseball. Like I literally said to myself, I will be amazing at highlight. I had a TV show on Travel Channel, and we were in Miami doing an episode, and I go, yo, get me into a highlight. I got to try highlight.
That's where it's
amazing. Dave, that's our bet.
I've never seen this side. I didn't realize this. How much shit talk you have with sports ability.
And I gotta be honest, throwing a highlight ball has absolutely nothing to do with throwing a baseball. So I don't see that comparison at all.
But by the way, hold on. Have you ever thrown a highlight ball?
No.
It starts.
But you're holding like a thing.
No.
It's like you're throwing it like it's like a lacrosse stick.
No, first of all, it's attached to your arm. It's attached to your arm. And the motion is that of an outfielder, just boom. And I'm telling you, it is exhilarating. It is awesome. And if you start a highlight league, Dave, I will invest in my own team and my own league. That is something I can put money behind. Start a fucking highlight team, start gambling on it, and I am in on that shit.
The best part about betting on highlight is they just cheat right in your face. So it's like it's like they'll make the most remarkable catches, like Willie Mays' basket, and then they'll just drop like a routine fly ball. You're like, well, that guy just fucking cheated, but you know it's going in, so it's just part of the deal.
Dude, I feel like I'm on like a regular guy's Shark Tank right now. Highlights, I'm in. I'm buying. I will invest in that.
Okay. Next pitch. I want to do a Barstool Sports first beer affirmation. So it's an app where when you have your first beer of the day, it's me giving you a 1-minute affirmation about what a badass you are. So as you drink that beer, you go, this is going to be the best fucking night of my life. I'm going to grab another beer real quick.
Oh, God.
His underwear? Was that like a bit? Was that a bit what just happened in the underwear? He gets up in the underwear?
I don't know. He's in the valley. He's had a couple of beers. Please tell me that leather couch in the valley didn't come with your house. God knows who got fucked on that thing, Bert.
No, I bought it.
Hey, so what else do we got here, man, as far as like Boston sports things? Anything else coming up? There's a big trade with Buffalo was supposed to be happening, number one line center. I don't know. They wanted 2 number ones. You a big hockey guy or no?
No, hockey's my distant 4. I'm the biggest Pink Hat fan. Like I actually rile up Bruins fans because I don't watch any regular season, and then I go all in the playoffs. I act like I'm fucking, the most diehard guy. I chirp people who haven't seen it. It's like I haven't missed a second of playoff hockey. I was at Game 7. I got the bandwagon, but regular season, I can't watch it on TV. I just cannot watch hockey on TV.
I think it's just one of those things. If you grew up. It's like working on cars.
I played growing up, and I used to watch it like.
All right.
So I watched like Ricky Middleton, like Dave. I watched all those teams. I loved it. But as I got older, Pete Peters. I used to be Pete Peters, Reg Lemelin. Like I was a Bruins fan growing up, but I just lost it.
Some of my favorite. Rick Middleton was my favorite.
Yeah, he was the best.
Hey, do you think there's a world ever where you sit down and break bread with Roger Goodell? And he ever just sits there and says, I kind of forgot that I was making $30-40 million a year. And I allowed, some huge NFL fans that actually helped my business for whatever fucking control freak reason to get under my skin to the point.
He had the chance. I mean, did you hear this latest episode I had with him so the NFL draft, you know, they put up, and in the middle of it, he's like, we have an auction for COVID for first responders. You can watch Monday Night Football with me in my man cave. So I heard that. I'm like, wait, what? So I fucking bid on it, and I won. I paid $250,000 for this. So I fucking won it, and everyone's like, what's Goodell going to do? What's Goodell going to do? He fucking canceled it. They said they ran the report on me and all this stuff, and I was like, a risk. So that was his chance to have me sit down. If I showed up and he's like, played a good sport, it would have been done. If he didn't do it, I won fair and square, $250,000. Wouldn't do it.
That money was going to go towards what?
COVID, like first responders and shit.
Wow.
So if he wasn't going to do it then,
just picturing you two guys sitting there. I'm sorry, it's the second time I haven't gotten the information when you were talking. What an idiot! He could have just squashed the fucking thing.
100%. So it's
I gotta admit, as a fan, I'm kind of happy that he didn't, because you going limp when they pulled you out of the Super Bowls was one of the funniest fucking things I've seen. If they come over, I'm telling you right now, he goes, I'm going limp. And all these guys, and a grown man just went like this. And
I dead fished them. That will be on my Mount Rushmore moments. The fact they had their chance to take me out when I didn't see them coming, and then they gave me like 2 minutes to think about it. And I said to my camera guy, just get ready. I'm going dead. I'm going limp here. And my feet just dragging along the steps with Maroon 5 playing in the background.
Oh, name the things you want brought up at your funeral that you did right in your life.
That's one.
That's a fucking perfect one.
Going limp was definitely one. Getting arrested at NFL headquarters was definitely a big one. You know, there's been a bunch of different, but a lot of them now are NFL. I don't know. We've been doing it for so long.
Bill, they
don't seem to have, like, out of all of them, they don't have like a sense of humor. I remember a long time ago, me and a buddy of mine were trying to do something for the NFL, and every time it was so rigid that your area of creating was from here to here. Like, I remember I went to a sports bar, and there was this Ravens fan there. What was that time we played him in the playoffs? In the first play, they handed off to their running back. I think
Ray Rice.
Yeah, Ray Rice, right up
Great guy.
Dude, this sports fan, like, I can't even tell you how annoying this guy was. As he started running down the field, this guy just starts going, oh, as loud as you possibly could, and then just starts walking around the whole bar yelling Super Bowl. Dude, it was the first round of the playoffs. And I wanted to beat the fuck. I couldn't. He was bigger than me, but the whole game was doing it. I had such a miserable experience beyond the fact that my team lost, that this fucking asshole was acting like this, and nobody at the establishment was doing anything. And I got home, I was so pissed. I was like, I gotta get something positive out of this. And I wrote this ad for DirecTV for the what's their the NFL package.
Yeah.
And it started off with this guy in the bar dealing with this fucking asshole, and it ends with him watching it at home with his own beer, having a great time. And as he was in the background, it said DirecTV NFL package. And as he was sitting there, that guy drove by outside in his car, like, down the street, and it said it pays for itself, just to get away from that guy.
Yep.
And if I remember correctly, DirecTV loved it and blah, 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 blah. But then when we went to the NFL, they got all protective about, like, we don't want to make fun of our fans. Our fans are blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, dude, no NFL fan thinks they're that fan. And if they do, they enjoy being that guy. Like people weren't going to watch less of it. And we did another one.
Everything they do is off. Even like the NFL draft, it's such Goodell. Like when he thinks like intentionally having people boo him, like works. He's like, see, I can make fun of myself because I'm telling them to boo me. It's just everything he does is just off.
Yeah, we did another one. I forget it. We're going to do something about NFL tailgates. And we went to the Raider ones where everyone was all dressed up and shit. I'd ask him a bunch of positive Raider things, and then gradually I would switch the conversation to talking about global warming and shit like that. And people would be sitting there in like all their makeup. I think it's more of a federal issue as they're holding the thing. And they didn't like that because it was making fun of their fans. So I think that's why I've kind of been fascinated watching that whole soap opera with the two of you, just in this weird way, enjoying you fucking with them, but also as a football fan and a fan of the NFL, just hoping at some point, it's like, guys, can you have a fucking sense of humor about yourself? This guy is an NFL fan. This guy helps promote your fucking league. And
yeah, that was the chance. The charity was the chance. He had the excuse, but if he wasn't going to do it then, he's never going to do it.
When does this whole new venture into the sports gambling, your whole app, which is going to destroy every other app, when is that whole thing gonna
supposed to be probably like September, October, third quarters, they tell me, of this year. Who knows what COVID does to it, but soon, once sports are going, we should have it ready. It's being built right now.
I want to talk about your podcast, Dave, because that's how I kind of met Barstool, was through KFC Radio.
Yep.
And you guys have like your podcast. One of the most gangster moves, I know I'm going to get shit for what I'm about to say, was that the Two Chick podcast?
Call Her Daddy.
Call Her Daddy. The fact that you just got on that RSS feed and talked directly to those fans. Like, this is really inside baseball, but that is a direct lesson. When I saw that, that's a direct lesson in every person out there that wants to start content. You get your own RSS feed. You do your own fucking thing. You build it by yourself. You want to jump onto Barstool's coattails? But remember, it's Barstool's. Give
the listeners the backstory. What was the whole soap opera with that thing? You had two people that came on your network. They blew up.
Yeah, so we started a podcast called Call Her Daddy. It was two attractive girls and they did maybe like one or two demo episodes of it. And I knew one of the girls, Alex, and we saw it and we reached out like, hey, this is interesting, unique. Would you guys ever think about like signing contracts with us, bringing over? And like, yeah, we worked out a deal, signed them each to 3-year contracts. So they're full-time employees of ours. Call Her Daddy became one of our podcasts. We own the IP. And it was a negotiation. But, what Bert's saying, like, when you join Barstool, we put gasoline behind your podcast. We're putting, millions of dollars of marketing behind it. And we try to blow the thing up. And it blew up. It became bigger than I imagined, what they imagined. And about a year into it, they wanted to basically leave. They're like, we're not getting paid enough. And there's two sides to everything. But yeah, if they were independent and they own Call Her Daddy at the size it became, they would have been making more money. Flip side is, if they didn't join us, there's a chance nobody would have known what the fuck it was. So I always use it like a baseball contract. If you're a fucking baseball player and you sign a 3-year deal with the Red Sox and you have a great first half of the season, you can't just be like, oh, I'm going to the Yankees now because they're going to pay me more. It's like, well, you signed a 3-year deal with the Red Sox. Wait for it to go, and then you can go to the Yankees if you want. And we had a big back and forth. At one point during this dispute, the two girls sort of turned on each other because they had leverage in the sense, if they just quit, we would have sued them, but then we would have lost all the revenue. It's COVID. We're trying to keep the thing going. They stopped doing the podcast. And I just jumped on their RSS feed at one point. Their audience had no fucking clue who I was.
Brand new Call Her Daddy. Brand new Call Her Daddy. Who is it? It's Dave. Listen, I'm not mocking these girls. I'm just letting you know. And Bill, you know this. Andrew, you know this. Dave, you know this. If you want to start a podcast, sign up with Barstool, but realize that all that shit you're getting up front, they gave you. That's right. You got a bunch of things. So I'm sorry, Dave. Keep going. You jumped on the RSS feed.
Yeah, so I jumped on the RSS feed and basically explained the situation. I'm like, there are 3-year contracts. And they were hinting at the time like we were trying to do shit to them. Like, we won't let them talk. We won't do this. It's like, listen, people can say whatever they want about me. I let anybody say whatever the fuck they want. You can sling it. I never tell anybody, if you don't like me, say it. If you think you're being treated unfairly, say it. But don't be like, my hands are tied. I can't talk. And I gave the whole scenario. I'm like, we signed them for 3-year deals. They're making $70,000 each, which is a pretty good starting salary when you have no audience. By the end of year one, they were each making $500,000 each because it had grown. And we were willing to work with them, but they had this guy from HBO Sports who was like the boyfriend. It was a fucking whole thing. This guy, Suit Man, who was trying to negotiate them leaving and essentially be their manager. So I just went on the podcast.
Oh, God.
And I let it rip.
The whole thing up.
He did. He did. And I just let it rip. And all the Call Her Daddy fans became like Dave Portnoy fans. It has increased my sex game like you wouldn't fucking believe.
Can you talk about the Spittin' Chicklets shit that went down Friday?
I don't know what went down. Oh, with Ronick?
Oh yeah. Bill, do you know about this?
No, I got a newborn, dude. I don't know what the hell's going on.
So, Dave, if you can just catch him up to speed.
Yeah, so Jeremy Roenick, obviously huge hockey guy, NBC Sports, went on Spittin' Chicklets, I don't know, a year ago or something. I don't know the exact time frame, but he told a story about wanting to basically have a threesome with Catherine Tappan when they were on like a trip. Catherine Tappan, NHL Network, when they were traveling together. He got major.
Look at Bill already.
Now listen.
What happens when you go into Barstool? You know you don't tell that story over the air.
Listen, when they offer you fucking beer, you don't take it. You fucking stay.
Listen, I knew that was a bad story immediately. I'm like, I wish he didn't say that. But he was trying to fit in. And from what I've gathered, Roenick and Catherine Tappan are like pretty good friends. So it was like joking. But,
not as good of friends as Jeremy wanted, but they're pretty good friends.
You're right. But in this era that we're in, like, Catherine Tappan had to condemn what he said. You can't be a female journalist, be like, yeah, I'm fine with some dude joking about that. So he got fired from NBC. And he said this on the Spittin' Chicklets, which is an unbelievable podcast, best hockey podcast by a mile. But then recently, Roenick now is suing NBC because he's saying he's gotten treated unfairly. Basically, like, from the way I read it, like Tara Lipinski and the other figure skater used to make
Johnny Weir.
John Weir. Yeah, it was Johnny Weir and Tara Lipinski together, that they would make sexual comments while announcing figure skating that they didn't get reprimanded for, and he did. So
he apparently went to NBC and he said, what about Johnny Weir? He had made comments about about a movie, a cast of young kids in a movie, and been talked very sexual. And he's like, what about Johnny Weir? And apparently and allegedly, the head of NBC said he's gay. He can say whatever he wants to say. You're straight. You can't. So now he is suing NBC for straight
bias.
Straight bias.
Wow.
Straight bias. You know what? It's crazy. This world's so fucked up. Like, he could win that.
By the way, Johnny Weir does. I mean, part of a comedic.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yeah, please.
As a man, when you get in trouble, okay, you don't bring up some other fucking dude who has nothing to do with this shit. That is immediate loss of your man card. You can allude to shit. Well, you know what? There's been scenarios with blah, blah. Why are you putting that guy on the fucking bird? He didn't fire you.
Yeah, Johnny Weir didn't do shit.
No, that's a soccer mom move.
I don't know. It's like I don't think Johnny Weir cares. I mean, he's like flamboyantly gay talking about, I guess, guys figure skating or whatever. I don't think he cares. But if he's trying to show there's a double standard, which I don't fucking know. I mean, there probably is. There definitely is.
Yes.
But whether that's wrong or not, I mean, what he said. He
standard in that you can tell a straight white guy, we are not hiring you because you're a straight white guy. You can't do that to other groups. However, there's a lot of fringe benefits to being the straight white guy. So that's like back in the day, there was a certain comedy club where this guy would just be like, I already have enough white guys, blah, blah, blah. I would literally tell you, but I knew what he meant. It's like, I just don't want yet another white guy in a sweater saying, what's the deal with fucking pencil sharpeners?
Yeah, I've said that to our own employees. Like when I had to say this recently, there was a guy who worked for us, a black guy. Because I was catching so much fire. I'm like, the only reason he works here is because he's black. And I didn't mean that disrespectfully, but we have a million more white resumes of guys who look like me, have the same sensibilities as me. We have a bigger pool of applicants, and we want to reach different crowds. So if somebody, I may not initially be like, oh, he's funny or whatnot, I'm trying to reach new crowds. So that's just the truth.
Well, I mean, you're running a business. So it's just like, if that is what you're trying to do, I mean, I do that on my podcast as far as if I do like a stand-up special. I tried to get on one of those all-women talk shows to promote my latest special, and one of the chicks just weirded us out. Well, it's just like, this ain't gonna be. It was like somebody called up and said, "Hey, did you see his special?" And the person was just like, I saw it. And that was it. Didn't say good or bad. We were just like, and I was like, you know, things are going really good for me. I don't know. That could have been great. It could have been bad. But like, I don't want to make, I don't want to move up in this game by having arguments like that. You know,
Bill, that's a really great point, because for a while I realized when I first started kind of popping or whatever, I wanted to hit all the shit I liked. Sometimes the shit I liked wasn't in my lane. And I realized, oh, maybe I remember telling Andrew Schultz this. I was like, I think my new motive is just stay in my lane. Like to find the people that like me and grab them as we go. But like I think all of us would love to have a very diverse crowd. But sometimes when you reach out to a diverse crowd, they actually hate you.
Yeah.
Like, trans people may not like my stand-up.
Right, and that's very true. And I mean, we're a business, so it you know, we got advertising bigger, and there are headaches involved with that. But I used to say, when we looked at ourselves, like, are we happy with being Seinfeld, for lack of better words? Like, you know, we're good at what we know and how we grew up and our sensibilities. But when you're a bit, like, if you're a comedian and you're selling tickets, you're doing that, fine. Like, we're trying to get advertising, and people will just look and they'll make assumptions like they're not diverse, so they must be racist. It's like, well, I'm a white middle-class fucking dude who grew up. And the only people who applied for jobs when I started were people who read me, who were similar to me, and that's our talent pool. As you get bigger, you try to do it. But like you said, sometimes as we've gotten bigger and tried to be more diverse, it's like, what are these fucking guys doing? They don't know what they're talking about. So it's a tough balancing act. It really is.
Oh, it is. As far as like staying in your lane, though, there's a balancing act of staying in your lane, but continuing to evolve. Because if you don't, then it just becomes more of the same. But I've seen more of the same work for some people. Like, this is what I do. People know that I do this, and I'm just going to keep fucking doing it. I don't give a shit if the critics keep saying I keep doing the same thing. This is what the people want. Like fucking AC/DC. My favorite goddamn band ever. For 40 years, I always joke, they wrote songs about women, the devil, and their balls. And they like 3 chords or something. And it just, Malcolm just had a way of just fucking always coming up with like a new riff that I enjoyed. And yeah, it is. I don't know. I think I definitely avoided stepping in some major shit. Because as much by trying to do, like, I don't know. It's sort of a disease. That thing, the disease of more. Like, okay, my last special did this. I need to do this, so I need to cast the net even wider. And I do think that eventually you probably end up getting away from. Like, I don't think there's anything worse than alienating the people that first got into you.
100%.
Yes.
That's the worst. Then you're just like, oh no, now I'm not tethered to where I was from, and now I'm just sort of now I'm floating. And I'm just reaching for anything. And at that point, you end up being like a contestant on a game show.
Yeah.
And then that's your career.
It's something we deal with all the time.
What's and I can't imagine that you ever saw. Have you been to the New York offices of Barstool, Bill?
Yeah.
Fucking really impressive. I mean, legit impressive.
I went to the first one, and then I believe it was the first one, and then the second one. I forget where the first one was, but then the second one was, I want to say, yeah, Lower West End.
The first one was like you were walking into Dave Portnoy's zipper. You were like literally like, oh, that's a cock. Holy shit.
Yeah. And I mean, that office was there was a bigger difference between the first office and the second office than there was the second and the third. I mean, the first office, that was like an old doctor's office where we were all just mushed together, like no air conditioning, 150 degrees. It was, our offices have been something.
Yeah, I don't think I was in that. So I was probably at the second and the third one.
Yeah, the first one was in Milton in Massachusetts.
Oh, no. I meant New York.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey, what is 10 years from now? Where's Barstool going to be?
It's a great question. I already said this. Yeah, I already said, I don't know. I mean, hopefully in 10 years, I'm fucking very rich and done with it and on a beach and Barstool's a household
name. That's not you. Bullshit. That's not you.
That's the biggest lie. That's the biggest lie going. People always try to say that's not me. That is me. Like I could happily fucking bet on horses, golf, and sit by the pool. I could. People say no. Yes, I could.
By the way, I could too.
So I don't know why people like
How much?
Never believe that.
How much money? Because how much money do you think you need to have? Well, they'll let you do that.
So I could do it now. So I could do it now. Like my net worth is like 100 million right now from doing this thing. But but I signed a 5-year contract. So I got to work my ass off for 5 years, and hopefully I'm worth a lot more. But that's plenty. I have more money. I just casually say it to you. I was like, I got fuck you money. I mean, I do. So I have plenty of money. I just got to work still, because that was the deal. To get the money, I'm like, I'll work my dick off in the next 5 years. Let me ask you this.
How old are you going to be in 5 years?
48.
Still in his 40s, Bert. Unbelievable. So you'll be 48 fucking years old. You know, you got fuck you money, so you're going to be eating great. So you're going to live to at least 80. You got
to win.
Although you start hanging out with those guys in the track, I might take 5 years off. You got at least 32 more years. How? Because that's my fantasy. I just want to do this shit till I'm 70, and then just fucking hopefully I have enough, and the dollar hasn't collapsed, and everything I've worked for is still there, and then I just picture myself sitting out on my back porch, not doing anything.
Yeah.
Talking to my wife.
Listen, I could, like, my finances could change because not all liquid. Like when we got bought by a company, Penn National, when they bought us, half our deal was like stock, half was cash. So the stock was at 26 when they bought us. People loved it. Went to $39, and then COVID hit. It went from $39 to $3.75. So my net worth was fucking way worse, and it's come all the way back. But nothing's for granted now. I mean, I always say if like you were in a coma and an alien came down and you saw people wearing masks everywhere, you'd be like, what the fuck? So who knows? I mean, 5 years is a long time from now.
Well, anyway, let's say it all works out. What are you going to do for 32 years? If you just
bet on horses and lay by the pool.
Where?
So my places, I have a place in Nantucket. That's where I am. It's my favorite place in the world. I fucking love it. Boston, there's nothing like Boston in the fall. So I'd like to live there in the fall, maybe spring. And then probably like West Coast, like Santa Monica, maybe in the winter.
Is your Nantucket place the place where you did the watermelon thing?
Yeah.
Bro, big pool respect. That is a beautiful pool. It's old school. It's classic, nice coping, followed by grass, big pool respect.
Well, give me some advice on a house with a...
Give me something. You don't have to, obviously, you're probably not going to be able to do this, only because it's super vulnerable. Give me some new fame shit you did when you first got money. Like old school new fame is like, look at a girl in a magazine. This is like from the 80s and go, who is that? I'd like to meet her when you first got famous. Like, what's something you did where you're like, yo, I'm getting a box at a fucking sports game. Like, what's some new thing?
Yeah, I mean, I've sold the company twice. I sold 50. The first time, I'm like, I'm going to get myself a nice watch. I don't wear fucking watches, but I went through the whole fucking thing with like Rolexes, and I'm getting ready to buy it. And I'm like, I don't fucking wear watches, so why am I buying a Rolex? And I bought like a 1970 Bronco, like an old Bronco truck for my Nantucket house. This recent time, I bought my parents a nice place that overlooks Boston. So that was cool.
How old are your parents?
My parents are like 70s.
Nice.
Yeah. But I don't get, other than that, I fly private. That's like my biggest perk. That's the one thing I think the biggest thing that money can do is I'll fly private as much as I can. And that's something, once you fly private, it's fucking tough to go back to the normal airport.
No, you can't do it. I've only done it a couple of times. And that next flight.
That's the biggest. That's the only, I have money now, but it's not why I started Barstool. I'm not really a money guy. I don't really give a fuck, but I miss flying private. That's like so much easier.
I prefer a commercial airliner and the size of it because the reality is, unless you can afford, which I can't, to fly a jet where you can actually stand up in it.
Yeah, we can. I'm in little
compact car. Okay, yeah. So once you just get the whole, hey, I didn't have to go through security. That was fucking awesome. And I got my turkey sandwich and my fucking potato chips. When you just sit in the back of this thing, there's a little shower curtain and you can see the fucking pilot's shoulders. And I remember I had to take a piss, and the guy, had to get out the co-pilot, lift up the snack tray, and under the snack tray was the toilet. Bert, I'm standing there. I had to fucking piss like this, like trying to hover over it. And at first when you're taking the piss, it's fine because it's coming out strong. But when it starts to fucking dribble off, you got to make like a porn star move so you don't piss down the side of your leg. And I'm like, this is private flight. I'd rather be in the only thing that sucks about commercial aviation is security. Going through security and all of that shit.
Worst.
Yeah, once you get on it.
Yeah, but still, then you're next to little fucking crying baby. Listen, I don't want to say this because the way life works, this will be like my epitaph. Like, oh, Dave said he'd rather crash in a private plane than fucking fly commercial. But I think I'd rather crash in a private plane than ever fly commercial. Now, I don't want that to happen. And knowing how life works, like, oh, they'll pull this quote, and that'll be like the way I go. But I really don't like flying commercial.
Bert.com. I'm just making sure if you do crash in a private plane that my website got out there.
All right, good.
Because they're using that clip. Hey, why haven't you bought a minor league team?
I don't have, I'm not liquid, but they got to be more money than that. And I don't want a minor league team. I don't want to go on minor league fucking teams.
Dude, you're in the area where all the minor league teams live.
Yeah, but I don't want to go. I don't like it.
All right, Dave, I got a good question for you. If Bert had your money, how fast would he be broke?
I don't know enough about him.
Highlight team, buy a minor league team.
Minor league team is a ridiculous thing to fucking buy.
No, it's not. First.
Then what are you going to go to the minor league games? Like, I want to go to a Red Sox game. I'm going to go to the fucking
I'm sorry.
Go to the Providence Bruins over the Boston Bruins. I go to the main Red Claw Celtics games over the Celtics.
You just said, am I going to go to a minor league team? I'm sorry. Am I going to start as the pitcher on my minor league team? It's fucking Brewster's Million, brother. I am going to be playing in every fucking inning.
Even that? I don't want to play in a fucking minor league game.
Man. Bert, you wouldn't last.
Bull fucking.
Dude, you're gonna do the dog days of summer in your mid-40s.
Are you kidding?
Playing with dirty baseballs,
bro? Yeah. I am telling you right now. You give me Dave's money. Dave, flip-flop with me. You can live in a house with 2 fucking teenage girls and a fucking 50-year-old wife. I am buying a minor league team. I am starting pitching and I'm batting 4th.
All right. I'm gonna keep my life. I'm not gonna make that trade, but I don't want that team.
I got a big
I didn't feel like you needed swap you, Dave.
Yeah, the wife, the kids, and all that. That sounded like a great trade, but I'm good.
Are you done? You're not having kids?
Well, never say never, but I'm not like dying to have kids this moment.
Yeah. How hard is this? Is a weird question, but you're the single dude. Are you single? You got a chick?
Single.
Is it hard?
This is not about Barstool anymore. We're just enamored with your personal life.
Yeah.
How much was that lamp worth, Dave?
Is it hard to get pussy in COVID?
No. It isn't.
We're out here social distancing, and you're just coming fucking raw dogging it.
It's not hard. Call her daddy.
You're the fucking best, man.
Right.
Let me tell you. I'll tell you right now, man. I've lived a blessed life, a really blessed life. Like, you don't know who I am, but trust me when I say they don't get lucky.
Always at least 4 IPAs in. Go ahead.
They don't get lucky.
Like campfire chat at this point.
But, man, you are fucking – God gave you a kiss on the forehead before he sent you down.
It's been a wild ride for sure for me for the last fucking couple decades. No complaints right now.
Would you trade it all for one thing? And what's the one thing? What would you trade it all for? Be a fucking doctor in India raising
That's an idiotic thing. I would trade it, but everything I trade it for would be like better than what I got. Like if you told me I could be like fucking, a star, if I could be a star baseball player and athlete, yeah, that's more fun and you make more money. And it's like, yes, but outside of being given like a talent, like to throw a baseball 99 miles per hour or be able to run a 4.140, to have like a normal white dude skill set, which is basically nothing, I've done pretty well with it.
Yes, you have, dude. You're crushing it, man. I'm loving everything that you're doing. I can't wait for this gambling app to come out. I'm fascinated with like horse gambling now, which is probably a
I'm probably lost all my money, but whatever.
All right. Well, listen, man, I couldn't be more happy for you guys. Enjoy Nantucket. I hope your neighbor has finished building whatever the fuck.
The locals are very mad at me about that. They're in an uproar.
Why? I mean, the guy parking heavy machinery in front of your fucking house.
Yeah, my neighbor. By the way, I tried to buy the fucking house, and somebody, whoever sold it, they said best and final offer. My real estate agent, I'm like, how much should I bid? He's like, just do the offering. No one else. It's too expensive. So I bid the offering. I didn't get it. A guy who lived 5 houses down from me got the house, bid more. I called him, and he's doing it as a rental house. He's not going to live there. He's going to rent it out to vacation people. I called him. I'm like, how much more money? I'll give you whatever you want on top of the purchase price. I just don't want people building. He's like, no, we're not going to do that. The second I showed up, fucking construction. Nantucket, 2 months a year, the population is 100x of what it usually is. Do construction the other 10 months. They charge 10x what it is anyways. So I got pissed. But the locals are like, what? Local people can't earn a living? Yeah, they can earn a living. You charge me 10x in the off season. So that's that story. You got me going there.
Well, I get you going about some neighbors that I've had, but I don't need that same fucking headache. All right, that's it, man. Thank you so much for coming on, and I hope sports comes back soon for all of us, but especially because of the entertainment value that you guys bring. You guys, you're the best in the business, and I hope to run into you at a Kentucky Derby when we're not wearing masks and all that shit somewhere down the road. That's it, Eric. Thank you. The great, brilliant Dave Portnoy, everybody.
Thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure.
All right, thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Okay, we'll see you.
Bye.